Hello. Welcome to Lick of the Week. It's week number 20 of our 52-week series exploring iconic jazz phrases. And here it is, your Lick of the Week. That lick comes from a trombone player named Kemal Hazar. And Kemal, well, he's a dear friend of mine. He's in my band, Tin Pan, now known as Tin Pan Türkiye, here in Turkey. And I have a special purpose for introducing this lick today. And it kind of introduces a bigger theme in all of this. What are we doing musically? Learning these licks, learning these phrases. Here's the story. Duke Ellington, we know he's Duke Ellington because he sounds like Duke Ellington, and that's why we study him. Thelonious Monk sounds like Thelonious Monk. Charlie Parker sounds like Charlie Parker. All the jazz greats that we revere sound like themselves. So how do we get to sound like ourselves? Obviously there's a language, and we're learning that language, and these iconic jazz phrases are a good step in learning that language, but ultimately the onus is on us to develop our own voice. And now how does that happen? And that's why I bring up my friend Kemal. I've been playing with Kemal for, 4 years now, and he's a classically trained musician. He's in the Izmir State Opera. And yeah, he's exposed to the greatest music of our culture, both classical and jazz and contemporary and Turkish and everything else. And he's got a wonderful way of phrasing and a very melodic sense of music in general, playing all these different kinds of genres of music. Now, my guitar player in Alpi had a really good laugh the other day, and here's why. Because of COVID, we haven't been playing that much together, certainly not live. But here in July, we're playing a bunch of gigs together, and we noticed that invariably, every single time, when it's time for Kemal to sound check on the microphone, he plays that lick that I just played for you. And we were out on some gig, and he played that lick on his sound check, and Alpi and I just lost it. It is such a Kemal Hazar thing to say. And I don't even think he's aware of it. He just picks up his trombone, and that's the first thing that comes out. And it's a gorgeous line. So let's just take a minute to look at this line and why it's so gorgeous. We are in the key of C. It starts on scale degree 5, chromatically walks up to the 6th, and then goes root 3 before jumping down to the 7 and popping back up to the 9, making this lovely shape, which overall is ascending from the 5th to the 9, but it has that nice dip of a 4th between the major 3rd and the major 7th. So it's catching all the great notes. In fact, every single note in the major scale is present except for scale degree 4, which, if you remember Charlie Parker's diatonic lick on I think I brought it up in terms of his solo on Yardbird Suite, but it's also a quotation from one of his own songs. That lick uses all of the pitches in the diatonic scale. Kemal's uses 7 of the 8. And yeah, it's got such a beautiful thing going from that major 3rd to the 7 to the 9. It's kind of a canonical jazz shape, which was also in the Louis Armstrong like lick that I introduced earlier in this series. So yeah, it's got all these wonderful swing elements, jazz elements, and it's just gorgeous and has a nice shape to it. And most importantly, it just sounds like Kemal. And that's a great thing. So my challenge for you is learn this phrase. It's a beautiful phrase. It's a beautiful phrase from someone that I really love deeply as a musician. So it's important to me. It's also just something that's good to know. But more importantly, on this week, I'm going to challenge you to discover yourself on your instrument. Now, what do I mean by that? Every one of you, I'm guessing, when you pick up your horn or guitar, or when you sit down at the piano or your bass or whatever, you play something that's just kind of a noodle, just kind of a thing that you play without thinking about it. My challenge to you is to transcribe that thing. What is that thing that you play every time when you pick up your instrument right away? It's reflexive, it's just a noodle, it's just a thing that comes out when you're not thinking about it. What is that phrase? Write it down, analyze it. I'm curious, send it to me. I just want to know, who are you? What is your language? What is that innate thing that just kind of happens naturally for you? So really, that's this week's Lick of the Week. It's your statement. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you next week.